And here we are. Hello. It's Thursday again. It's Discover Tai Chi for Blesma. Should we get moving? Let's do that. I've got a little suggestion, maybe. I'll run it by you later. Ooh, got a phone call. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Normally have my phone on silent, and lo and behold, when you don't, it rings. Okay, right, let's get going. Once again, we're going to have a wider stance. We'll do our familiar side-to-side movements just to get ourselves going. So, and then we're going to take our hands and arms, take them out stretched. Okay, push your weight to one side. I'm not going to be prescriptive. Just push your weight to one side and then tip to the opposite side a little bit while holding that position. Don't turn it into a big stretch. And then push across to the opposite side, of course, tip again to the opposite direction and come back up. So try not to think of it as a stretch. Just get a feel for A, how that challenges your balance, and B, what your respective range of motion is on each side. I tend to find I'm much more restricted. And let me double check. Someone else is jumping in. You guys keep going. It's Richard. We'll get Richard in on the call. There he is. Fab. So come to a rest. Let the hands relax. And if you can get a foot forward a little bit, then we'll just do some nice easy arm swings just to take some pressure out of the arms. So just swing the arms, breeze blows through a willow tree. Excellent. Okay. Step back. If you did take a step, or even if it was just a little step, left leg, same thing. Sweep the hands to and fro. Good job. Good to see you, Richard. Fab. Bring everything back. Okay. See if we can have a little bit of a wider stance. We're going to place our hands on our hips. So the bony bits. So not your waist, not the soft squidgy bits, but the bony bits below the waist. And we're going to push to one side. Again, I'll let you choose, but push with the hand to push the hips across and then push back the opposite way, and it just pushes you a bit further. You'll tend to find there's a bit of a stretch through the muscles on that opposite side. Oh, my right hip doesn't half need a stretch. So just push a bit more actively to let the hips go. You can even let your hips push out a little bit like so. Wouldn't normally do this, but just let the hips push out a little bit more than we might normally do. That's it. I'm going to go one more to each side. And then we can walk our feet in. Okay, let's do some rotation. Excuse me, but a little bit more dynamic. Just look after your balance. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. So unlike Wise Owl, we're going to start drumming. So we're going to swing. Excuse me. Our hands loose and relaxed, just swinging from one side to the other, drumming on our hips or on our sides, just like that. Nice, easy rotations. Although not so easy, again, using a lower limb prosthesis or prostheses, plural, to maintain balance. I've got to go a little bit careful. If you find it easier, keep your head facing forward so you have a fixed point to focus upon. If you feel able to, you can turn the head with the movement, but only if that doesn't induce, whoopsie, any significant balance issues. I almost went like so. So just nice, easy swings. Fab. Okay. Come to a gradual stop. And we'll keep the swing going, but now we're going to kind of march on the spot, but let the hands and arms swing up to sort of shoulder height. That's it. A little bit more vigorous. That's it. And then let everything begin to come to a rest. And if I turn to the side, okay, so we're going to swing the arms to and fro together, and the hips are going to go in the opposite direction. So it's basically I'm rocking to and fro, heel to toe. And if my hips go forward, my hands go back. And if my hips go back, my hands go forward. Get the idea? And basically it's just getting to the point whoop, where you need to just catch your balance. It actually works your muscles in your tummy or your trunk. Whoop. Quite a bit. And as you can see, you may even need to take a compensatory step on occasions. So this is tricky for again, people using lower limb prosthetics, because this is a tricky thing to balance, isn't it? And we tend to avoid it, but I'm purposefully getting us to gently explore going from heel to toe, and my hands just help a little bit. Ooh, almost went. That's it. Lovely. Good job. Have a little just walk on the spot. Just relax after some of that more challenging movement. Okay. So feet a little bit wider apart if that's possible for you. We're going to do big, broad movement. We're going to lift the hands up, not quite touching overhead, but right overhead, and then down, and then down you go. As far as you feel comfortable. It might be hinging at the hips more than anything, but that's okay. And we're embracing the universe, as it's called, creating a big circle from the top all the way down to the bottom. Again, it's quite a balance challenge because we've got to manage our weight as it goes up high and then comes down low. So again, you've got to organize yourself around your base of support as you do so. That's it. Last one. I'm going to bring my hands down. There we go. Have a bit of a relax. So we're off to a good start, I hope. Okay, 4 directions. First of all, let's go forwards to the side, up and down, and then we'll do some diagonals. Now, I'll sit down for the diagonals and join people who watch from a seated position. Bring the hands up. Push the palms forward. So we push against gentle resistance. Push, push, push. Let everything relax. Bring the hands up. And now push to the sides. Out to the sides. Push, push, push. And drop the hands. Up, overhead this time. Push. So push down through the feet. That's it. And then push down to the ground. Wonderful. Let's go again. See if you can conjure a little bit more resistance this time. So we push forward and it just feels as though instead of pushing through water, maybe we're pushing through treacle. I know that will get very sticky and messy, but you get the idea. Push out to the sides. And then up, push upwards. And then pushing down. Excellent. So that's our 4 directions, our first version. Let me pull up my seat. I'll join people who are seated. Let's do our second version, pushing on diagonals. So up and down on these diagonals. Let's start with our right hand. So I'm picking up my right hand, pushing up diagonally, looking in that direction as well to the left. And then I draw the hand back. It's as if I draw something back at the same time. Pick up the left hand, look and push up to the right. And once again, draw that hand back as if you are bringing something back towards you. Okay, downwards this time. Right hand from shoulder down diagonally towards the ground on the left. Draw it back. And now left hand pushing down to the right and then drawing back. So that's our first round. Second round. Here we go. Again, maybe conjure a little bit more resistance in those pushes as we go through those respective directions. Here we go with that right hand pushing up. Almost has a kind of shot put type feel to it. And then push down. And then pushing upwards to the right with the left hand. Taking my right hand and pushing down to the left. That's it. And then last but not least, left hand pushing down to the right and back. Excellent stuff. Okay, I'll stay seated for a little while. So let's take a ball and imagine that it's got a bit of mass to it. So it's not a very light beach ball as we sometimes think. It could be, I don't know, could be a volleyball, could be a basketball, could even be a medicine ball. Imagine that you're holding something that's got a bit of mass to it, a bit of weight. Okay, and we're going to take it in the direction of the top hand. Again, not going to be prescriptive, just turn and take that ball a little bit to that direction, turn it over, and then turn back in the opposite direction. It's our familiar roll the ball exercise, but I want you to see if you can really imagine that we've got something with a bit more substance to it. So that you're having to just engage with that imaginary object a bit more than perhaps you might ordinarily do. That's it. Good job. Okay. So we're going to come back to the center. Let our object, our ball, disappear for a moment. It's going to come back. So let's see if we can have a bit of a wider stance. If you sat down with me, could you imagine that actually there's a second globe or ball that's between the knees and it's keeping your knees apart? And if you stood up again, you want to have a bit of a wider stance. We're going to use that side to side motion that we practice so frequently at the beginning to coincide with that carry of the ball. Okay. And we're going to push actively through our legs, even our prosthetic legs, or even if you sat down or you're using a wheelchair, we're going to be pushing through the hip from one side to the other. So again, we're going to be a bit more active. Okay. So this time I am going to suggest that we all get our right hand on top. This will just help get us all started on the same footing, if you excuse the pun. Okay, so we've got the right hand on top. We've got our ball that has a bit more substance to it in our hands. So if we've got the right hand on top, we're going to push off that left side, be it your left foot, left leg, left hip, all of it, all in one go. You're going to push a bit to that side, then turn that ball over. And now you're going to push with the right leg because the left hand has come on top. So push across. Turn that ball over. Left leg pushing us across to the right. So we've got an active push with whatever we've got to push with, be it seated or standing. Push, push, push. And conversely, obviously we've got to put the brakes on because if we were to push too far, we'd either fall over or we'd have to take a compensatory step. So we are also putting the brakes on at some point to that push and coming to a stop. Actively push from one side to the other. Hopefully you can really feel the muscles of the trunk really get engaged as we do so. Wonderful. Okay, come back to the center. Wonderful. And let things go. So for people watching at home and for people who are live now, I said I'd mention a suggestion. And that is that we might even want to find something that we can hold next time. That could be, I don't know, you may even have a medicine ball, as long as it's not too heavy knocking about. Or you might have a light dumbbell. In fact, in China, that's quite a traditional thing to hold something like a dumbbell between the hands and to rotate it, or something like a kettlebell even. Doesn't have to be too heavy. A couple of kilograms would be fine. A milk jug or milk carton, 2 liters, filled up with water, with the top screwed on nice and tight. That might be a very useful thing to have to hold. So I've put it out there. Let me know what you think. You can either drop me a message in WhatsApp, particularly people who are watching later, or people who are watching live now, or you can let me know at the end. Okay? Okay. So we had a little form, haven't we? Our seaweed form, where again, we've been actively moving from side to side. Remember that push through the legs? Let's see if we can bring that into our little form. So are you ready? I'll stay seated. If you're standing up, hands will be starting from the hips. If you've got the scope when you're seated to have the hands hanging loosely, please do that as well. But if not, start from the thighs. I'll start from here. So let's do Chi-Shi. We'll just do it once, just to get ourselves into this first opening sequence. So if you remember, as we pick the hands up, it's our dance partner, okay? We've got the right hand on top, hopefully. So do you remember, push off the left leg to give ourselves some impetus to go to the right. Hold yourself there while we swap the hands. And now you're going to push off the left leg to send ourselves, sorry, right leg to send ourselves left. My apologies, I've got my lefts and rights mixed up. Now we push off the left leg to go right. Swap those hands. Push off the right leg to go left. I got it correct that time. Okay. Push off the left leg to the right for the last time. Push off the right leg to send ourselves to the left for the last time. And as we swap hands, we're going to bring this left hand up. Here's the first ball that we're going to catch, and then let it expand. Squeeze apart. That's it. Here we go. Seaweed. If you remember, we drop down to the right. Have again a little bit of a push to the right. And then push from the right leg across to the left as we sweep the hands over that direction. Then we relax the hands and we push through the left leg to send the hands back up to that right shoulder. Here's that little loopy sweep of the hands around. And then push a little bit off the right leg to send the hands around to the left. And then push back from the left leg to bring the hands. Here's the ball coming in, slow motion catch. There it is. And now we have a second open and close. Down to the left this time, so a little push off that right leg. Push off the left leg to sweep the hands low and across to that right side. Relax the hands, but push off the left leg to send the hands back up to that left side. Here's that swoopy sweep of the hands around. Push off the left side to sweep the hands around to the right. Turn them over, push off the right leg to bring them back. Third incoming ball, here it comes, catch, fab. Here we go, open and close. We're going to get the left hand on top for our wave hand sequence, but again, using our legs, push off the right to send yourself to the left side, and we're into wave hands. Push off that left leg to send you on your way to that right side. Get the idea? Opposite leg to push you in the direction in which you intend to travel. Push from the opposite leg. I'm pushing to the last time over to the left to set myself up for a final push towards the right. And then I'm going to pick up that right hand, fourth and final ball comes in. Catch. Good catch. Final open and close. And then we finish with a little flower, don't we? We kind of cross the hands, turn them in. If I turn a little bit, you can see we make this little flower, as it's called, and then finish very nicely. So I hope you like that, excuse me, active push through the legs. It's an element of Tai Chi, not taught very often. Um, and it's an element of Tai Chi that you can't readily discern if you were to see someone. Are they actively pushing through their legs? Again, you can't really tell, especially if they've got long trousers on. Very difficult to tell how active they are through their legs. But now you know, that's something that we really want to see if we can establish as part of our practice, to have these active pushes in whichever direction we plan to go, even if we're moving forwards or backwards or side to side. Okay, keep an eye on the time. Let me stand back up for final movement. Let's finish off by kind of bringing things back down to earth. So let's start large. We're going to bring the hands up, just like we did when we were embracing the universe, only this time the hands drop down. I know my hands disappear out of frame, but they drop down like so. Everything nice and light now. Could be a breath in. And again, hopefully we've got a nice, stable, balanced base of support created through our feet and legs, or through our seat, as we begin to bring things to a close. That's it. Now we're going to just make the circle smaller. So just shoulder height now with the hands. There's the press. Could be a breath in. And a third one. And then we make it even smaller, just pushing my hands forwards. I'll just turn to the side, lifting them up. Then the little press down. So we're making everything smaller and smaller, bringing everything back towards ourselves. Third and final one. And as we lower the hands, we can link our thumbs, let the hands rest. Catch a sneeze, there you go. And then take a breath, let it go, rest your eyes just for a moment. And just let everything settle. Chen, as it's called in Chinese, to settle, to sink. A sense of downwardness. I like to use the image of a little boat in a harbour, and the tide begins to go out and it slowly but surely settles on the harbour bottom, waiting for the tide to come in again. And then we can part the hands, bring things to a finish. So there you go. So we had a bit more of a vigorous start and exploring some range of motion. And then we had these active pushes through the legs, which again really does then make our movements a whole body movement. And I've also given you a suggestion to mull over for the next few days and see what you think, to maybe us utilizing something with a little bit of load to maybe play with these motions, because they originally used to have stones, okay, that they would practice with. The heaviest one found, round stone, 44 kilos, which is incredibly heavy. And I'm not even faintly suggesting that we do anything like that. But it gives you an idea, doesn't it, that there's a whole side of our Tai Chi practice where we could bring a little bit of resistance. Okay, that's food for thought. Let me finish the recording and bring it to a close. If anyone has any thoughts or comments on what I've said, you can let me know.